चित्स्वरूपं विश्वरूपं दिव्यज्ञानं गणेशा प्रथमपूजं गजकर्णकः शुभकार्येषु गणेशा एकदन्ताय गोजयप्रदाय वेदगर्भा गणेशा निराकार ओंकार धूम्रवर्णा गणेशा.
Part 1. Naradji learns of the Satyanarayan puja. Many years ago, sage Shunakaji assembled 88,000 holy rishis, munis, sages and sants in the forest of Nehimsha. They were gathered to perform a yajna, prayers that would last 1,000 years for the benefit of mankind. At this gathering, a great sant called Sutta Puranikji narrated stories from the Skanda Puran. During the course of events, Shunakji and other sages, thinking about the suffering of the people during Kali Yuga, asked Sutji, "O wise and learned Rishi Muni, during Kali Yuga, people are enduring terrible suffering. Please kindly tell us, is there anything that mankind can do to relieve their sorrows, live a happy life, and attain moksha?" Sutji was very pleased to hear this question, particularly as it was for the benefit of ordinary people. He replied, "You have asked a very good question. I will tell you the answer that Narayanji gave to Brahma Rishi Naradji when he asked the same question. Settle down and listen carefully to this story. Once upon a time, as Naradji was travelling through the universe singing Lord Vishnu's praise, he arrived on earth, the home of mortals, Mrityulok. Seeing human misery and suffering, he became greatly distressed and tried to think of a solution to ease their troubles, but no answer came to him, so he decided to consult Vishnu. Naradji went to Vishnulok and addressed Vishnu as follows: "O Lord Narayanji, you are supreme and all-knowing. You are without beginning or end. You are the preserver of the good and protector of the universe, ever devoted to your followers. I pay my humble respects to you." Vishnu smiled. He knew that Naradji did not visit him without a purpose and replied, "Dear Narad, speak openly and tell me your reason for coming here." Naradji replied, "I have just returned from Mrityulok, where people are suffering terribly from their karma. Their sorrows build up day by day, and they know of no solution to ease their troubles. O merciful Lord, please tell me, is there a way to bring an end to their suffering and grant them happiness? What can they do to release themselves from their pains, achieve their goals, and ultimately attain moksha?" Vishnu replied, "Dear Narad, you have asked a very good question. I will tell you about a prayer that has the power to destroy and free the devotee from sin and grant him a happy life. It is the Shri Satyanarayan Vrat, and by doing this prayer and fast, they will achieve all their goals, experience pleasure on earth, and ultimately attain moksha." He continued, "The prayers and fasts need only be kept once a month, ideally on the day of the full moon, but any day will do. The devotee is to fast all day, abstaining from salt and grain. In the evening, he should prepare prasad of bananas, jarnamat made of yogurt, milk, ghee, sugar and honey, and churan made with wheat flour, ghee and sugar. Then he should assemble his family and friends and chant mantras, prayers, and sing arti to Satyanarayan Bhagwanji. At the end of the prayers, all the people assembled should be fed and given prasad. They should also give some money to charity. When they pray, they should promise not to hurt anyone, to always try and help others and be thankful for the health and happiness they possess. During the day, the devotee should try to be good and kind to other people. They should remember and chant the name of God, be it Rama, Krishna, Narayan, or any other. They can sing it aloud or within. By being considerate and thoughtful, they will naturally give happiness to others and receive happiness, peace, and good health in return. Performing the Satyanarayan fast will relieve suffering and sorrow. It will bless the devotee with wealth, wisdom, and children. It will allow them to achieve overall victory and increase their devotion. In Kali Yuga particularly, this fast will prove beneficial very quickly. Shri Satyanarayan Bhagwan Ki Jai. When Sutji finished narrating the conversation between Lord Vishnu and Naradji, the rishis chanted, Narayan, Narayan, Om Shri Narayan. They then asked, Sutji, please can you explain, where is Vishnu Lok? If Vishnu is omnipresent and exists everywhere, where does Naradji go to see him? This is another good question, Sutji replied. It is true, God, Vishnu, has no bodily form. He is everywhere, but more so within those who are good and kind, considerate and polite, helpful and honest, those who think of the needs of others before their own, those who love him, pray to him, are conscious of him every minute of the day, and those who are ever thankful for their blessings. He resides in the blessed hearts of these people, the souls of the Bhagats, Yogis, Mahatmas, and Sants. This is Vishnu Lok. Those who can meditate and look deep within themselves can find God there and talk to him. That is how Naradji reaches Lord Vishnu. The rishis then wanted to know the meaning of Satyanarayan and the significance of the Vrat. Sutji explained, Satya means truth. Narayan is the name of the Supreme God in his infinite, all-pervading form. When we fast, our bodies get an opportunity to rest. It also makes us think of those less fortunate than ourselves, those who have no food. It also makes us thankful for what we have. God always looks after those who love him, trust him, and remember him. Become conscious of God, as he is always watching over you, and doing so will lead you to a peaceful and happy life. Shri Satyanarayan Bhagwan Ki Jai. The rishis now asked Sutji to explain the benefits of the Vrat. Sutji replied, Satyanarayan is an incarnation of Vishnu. His other name is Sat Chit Anand. Sat or Satya means truth. Chit means mind. Anand means happy. If you pray to be truthful, Sat, your mind, Chit, will be happy, Anand. By telling the truth, a person will be unable to do wrong and thus have a clear conscience. A truthful person will be trustworthy and respected. Honesty may result in short-term loss, by handing in lost property or money, for example, but it will lead to long-term gain. God will be pleased with you and help you. Let me tell you the story of Gautam. There was once a poor thief called Gautam who lived in the village of Rajpur. Once in a while he would go to a satsang and listen to the teachings and discourse of the visiting Mahatma Sant. The Sant knew Gautam was a thief, but saints are indifferent to all people and do not turn anyone away. Instead, with the power of their love, they try to improve them. One day, after the satsang, the Sant called Gautam over and said, Gautam, why don't you stop your thieving ways? Gautam replied, Oh, Santji, stealing is my profession, and I do not know of any other way to feed my family. If you know of another way, tell me. The Sant replied, You can change by doing the following 3 things. 1. Always tell the truth. 2. Pray to Satyanarayan, the God of truth, every day before you go out to do anything. 3. Try and attend a satsang or spend a few minutes contemplating God every day. If you do these 3 things every day, you will attain peace and happiness with the blessings of God. Gautam happily agreed to try, and with great resolve succeeded in following the 3 rules the Sant had advised. Shortly after, the Sant travelled on to another town and sent a message to Gautam to come and visit him there. Gautam had no transport, so he decided to steal a horse from the king. As he approached the stables, a guard stopped him and asked what he was up to. Gautam, remembering his promise to the Sant, told the guard that he was a thief and that he needed a horse. The guard laughed, thinking Gautam was joking, and let him by. Gautam chose a fine black horse, saddled it up, and rode out of the stables. Another guard approached him and questioned what he was doing, Again, Gautam spoke truthfully and said, I have stolen this horse so I can visit my guru. Again, the guard thought Gautam was joking and let him ride on. Gautam rode all day and arrived at the Sant's temple that evening. He tied the horse to a tree and entered the temple as the Satyanarayan puja was being performed. Meanwhile, the king's guards realized that Gautam had actually been telling the truth. The king ordered Gautam's immediate capture and sent the guards after him. When the guards arrived at the temple, they saw a horse tied to the tree, but this horse was white. They waited for the puja to finish, then watched the people leave when they recognized Gautam. Did you steal this horse from the king's stables? They asked. Gautam replied, I did steal a horse from the king's stable, but that one was black and this one is white. Gautam was arrested and taken before the king, where he explained about his promise to do 3 things every day: to tell the truth, pray every day before his daily work, and pray at the end of the day. Gautam told the king how he had learnt that God's name could be remembered at any time and any place. Stop for a few moments, he said, and thank God for all you have and ask for his blessings. If you have done something bad, ask for his forgiveness. Simply pray by repeating his name. Any will do. Chant it aloud or within. By doing so, God will always be with you. The king was moved by Gautam's words. He decided there and then that Gautam was not a thief and wished to reward him for his inspiring words. Gautam asked only for the horse, so he could visit the guru. The king granted his request and decided that he would also follow the 3 rules Gautam lived by. Gautam stopped stealing and gradually started a small business that prospered and grew with honesty and hard work, and after his death he attained moksha. Sutji continued, No prayer is greater than truth, no sin greater than lie. Where the heart is full of truth, therein the Lord resides. A truthful person will be free of all sorrows, sins and worries. Such a person will not be afraid of anyone. He will have the confidence and faith that God is always watching over him. Shri Satyanarayan Bhagwan Ki Jai. The rishis now asked Sutji to tell them about people who have prayed to Satyanarayan during the age of Kali Yuga. Sutji explained, Once, a long time ago, a holy man by the name of Swami Satyanand went to the village of Nampur to perform the Satyanarayan puja for the benefit of the people. The people were very anxious to learn of this prayer as they had never heard of it before. On the day of the full moon, the Swami arrived, and the people gathered together with their families to hear of this prayer. When he arrived, they all stood up and bowed before him to welcome him. The Swami was old, but his face had a wonderful glow, and all those who looked upon him felt peace and happiness. Today is the full moon, said the Swami, and it is the day for fasting and prayer. This is the day when Lord Vishnu told Naradji of the Satyanarayan puja for the people of Mrityulok. The villagers asked, Who is Satyanarayan? And the Swami explained, Satya is truth and Narayan is God. God is everywhere and within everyone. Whenever there is too much sin and suffering, he comes to destroy the wicked and relieve the suffering. He came as Ram to save the people from Ravan. He came as Krishna to destroy Kans. He came as Guru Nanak to teach people to be good and kind. The Swami then went on to explain how to be a good, honest person. Speak truthfully and accurately. Speak to the point and do not exaggerate. If truth will cause pain, consider your words and the right moment to speak. In your daily life, talk only when necessary. Do not talk too much or unnecessarily. Do not talk about others or criticize people. See good in others. We all have faults. Look for the good points. Keep your promises. Do not disclose secrets belonging to others. If you have done something wrong, try to correct it and ask for forgiveness. Praise others for the good they have done. By giving happiness to others, you will receive happiness yourself. Work hard, be thankful for what you have, and humble about your achievements. Always perform your daily prayers. It need only take a few moments. In the morning when you awake, ask for his blessing, and at night, thank God for his mercy. The people were inspired by the words of the Swami. They went on to perform the Satyanarayan puja and continued to perform the prayers and fasts every month. Shri Satyanarayan Bhagwan Ki Jai. The rishis asked Sukji to speak of other people who had performed this puja and also asked him to explain how to keep away from worldly temptations. Sukji explained, happiness lies in honesty, simplicity and God. Realize God is everywhere. God is our mother and father. We can ask Him for anything and He will answer from within. Our life is different if we have faith in God. It leads us to happiness. Be with God and be for God, and you will be forever blessed. Listen now to the stories of people who kept this fast before Kali Yuga. There was once a very poor Brahmin man who suffered from terrible difficulties but benefited greatly by performing this fast. This poor Brahmin lived in a town called Kashipuri. He was penniless, barely able to feed himself or his family, and spent most of his day wandering about trying to collect bhiksha. One day, seeing his pitiful state, Vishnu appeared before him disguised as an aged holy man and said, "Dear Brahman, your life is very hard collecting alms this way. How do you find time to make a living and support your family?" The Brahman replied, "Dear friend, I have no work and this is the only way I can feed my family. If you know of a way to change my fortune, please tell." The holy man replied, "Dear friend, turn your attention to Satyanarayan and your troubles will come to an end. Always lead an honest life and remember him, and he will keep you in his care." The holy man carefully explained who Satyanarayan was and how the fast was performed and concluded. By doing this vrat every month, you will overcome all your sorrow and ultimately attain moksha. So saying, the holy man went on his way. The Brahman, who had listened intently, decided there and then that he would perform the fast the very next day and returned home to explain all he had learnt to his family. That night, the Brahman could hardly sleep thinking of Satyanarayan. In the morning, he woke up, determined that he would do the fast with whatever alms he could collect with great devotion. As the Lord is always there to help with noble thoughts and work, that day the Brahman received more money than he had ever done before. He bought all the necessary things for the prayers. That evening he gathered his family and friends. Together they prayed and ate the prasad. They began to perform the fast every month, and day by day the Brahman's circumstances began to change for the better. He overcame all his sorrows and became a prosperous man leading a comfortable life. Without fail, he and his family remembered and observed the fast and prayers to Satyanarayan. It was on such a day that they were visited by a poor old woodcutter who was parched with thirst from working in the heat of the sun. He knocked on the Brahman's door and asked for some water to drink. Having appeased his thirst, he observed that the Brahman's family were performing prayers. Waiting till the prayers had come to an end, he curiously asked who they were praying to and what were the benefits of that prayer. The Brahman gave the woodcutter some prasad and happily explained that they were praying to Satyanarayan and how it had improved their circumstances. The old woodcutter was very pleased to hear of this prayer and decided that he too would perform this fast. As he left the Brahman's house and set on his way, he decided that he would use the money he earned today to prepare and perform the same prayers. That day, the woodcutter earned 4 times more money than he had expected. With his earnings, he bought bananas, ghee, yogurt, milk, flour and sugar, all the things required to prepare the prasad. When he returned home that evening, he prayed to Satyanarayan with his friends and family, sharing and eating the prasad. Just as the Brahman had done before, the woodcutter prayed and fasted every month, and his circumstances improved each day. He became prosperous, led a happy life, and ultimately attained moksha. Shri Satyanarayan Bhagwan Ki Jai. Now I will tell you the story of someone who did not keep his word about performing this fast. There was once a very wise and benevolent ruler of Kanakpur called King Uklamuk. He and his kindly wife Queen Subhadra would go to Satyanarayan's temple on the banks of the river Bashandula every day. Here they would pray and give charity to the Brahmins and poor people, earning their love and respect. Once a month, the king and queen would perform the Satyanarayan fast for the benefit of the people and the kingdom. On one particular occasion, they were celebrating this fast in the mandir with many of their subjects and kinsmen. The joyful singing and prayers drew the attention of a traveller, a jewellery merchant called Sadhu, who was heading home after a successful business trip. His curiosity aroused, he moored his boat and entered the mandir to inquire about the prayers therein. Approaching the king, Sadhu asked, "Majesty, what great prayers are being performed here today with all these people? What are you praying for, and what are the rewards of this prayer?" The king explained that every month on the day of the full moon, he performed the Satyanarayan fast and shared the prasad with all the people. He explained the benefits of the prayer and how he hoped to be blessed with a child. Intrigued, Sadhu replied, "Sire, I would also like to perform this fast. Please explain what I need to do." The king told him the full details of the prayer and fast and gave the merchant prasad. Thanking the king, Sadhu continued on his journey. When he arrived home, he told his wife Lilavati all he had learnt about Satyanarayan. He conveyed how King Uklamuk explained how to perform the fast and its great benefits. He went on further to say that if they had a child in the near future, he too would perform the Satyanarayan fast. Shortly after, with Satyanarayan's blessings, Lilavati became with child and in due course gave birth to a beautiful baby girl they called Kalavati. Sadhu and Lilavati were overjoyed and celebrated the birth of their daughter with great lavish. Lilavati, remembering the promise to Satyanarayan, gently reminded her husband about the fast he said he would perform. But Sadhu replied, "Let's not be hasty. There is plenty of time. Let us wait until Kalavati is grown and married." Just as the moon grows and brightens during Shukla Panch, 16 years passed and Kalavati grew into a beautiful girl. Seeing this, the merchant realized it was time to arrange his daughter's marriage. He sent his servants far and wide to look for a suitable husband. In their search, they arrived at a town called Kanaknagar, where they found an eligible bachelor, who was a young man of fine qualities, and in no time the marriage was arranged and performed with great pomp and ceremony. Again, Lilavati reminded her husband of the promise to perform the Satyanarayan fast. This time, Sadhu agreed, yes, it was time to fulfill his word, but only after he had returned from a business trip with his new son-in-law. Seeing that the merchant was failing to keep his word, Satyanarayan decided something needed to be done. Far from home, Sadhu and his son-in-law arrived at the beautiful town of Ratanpur. They set up a stall with their beautiful wares in the bustling market, confident that business would be brisk. Unknown to them, though, that day a theft had been committed at the royal palace of King Chandrektu. Thieves had stolen valuable jewels and were being hotly pursued by the royal guards. Seeing Sadhu's jewellery stall, they decided to abandon their loot, casting it amongst his wares before making their escape. When the guards arrived at the stall, they immediately recognized the king's jewels and arrested Sadhu and his son-in-law. King Chandrektu remained deaf to Sadhu's pleas of innocence. He confiscated all their jewels and ordered them to be locked away in his dungeons. Back in the merchant's home, Lilavati also experienced misfortune. The house was robbed. The months passed by as Lilavati and Kalavati lost everything they owned and soon were forced to beg for food. Then one day, while Kalavati was out, she came across a Brahman's house that was preparing to perform the Satyanarayan prayers. Kalavati was invited to join in and receive prasad at the end of the puja. When she returned home, it was dark. Lilavati had been worried and asked, "Kalavati, why are you so late? Where have you been?" Kalavati explained that she had been invited to join a family to perform the Shri Satyanarayan prayers. All at once, Lilavati remembered her husband's promise and immediately decided to perform the Satyanarayan fast the next day. She made all the preparations as best she could and with her friends and family performed the puja and fast, asking Satyanarayan for the safe return of her husband and son-in-law. Satyanarayan Bhagwan heard Lilavati's prayers. That night, he sent King Chandraktu a dream telling him to release the merchant and his son-in-law the next day. He told the king that the prisoners were innocent, that their possessions and wealth should be returned, and they should be sent home, otherwise the kingdom faced great danger. The king was shaken by his dream, and on waking consulted his viziers, who advised him to obey his dream. It was not long before the merchant and his son-in-law were sailing back home on a fine boat with attendants, both dressed in fine clothes, the ship full of riches from the king. Shri Satyanarayan Bhagwan Ki Jai. Sut Ji explained to the rishis, Satyanarayan has helped the merchant out of his troubles, but the merchant still needs to understand the significance of the fast. He continued, the merchant and his son-in-law were well on their way home when they decided to moor the boat and have some lunch. As they were resting on the banks of the river, Satyanarayan Ji arrived, disguised as an old holy man. He asked the merchant, what are you carrying in your boat? Sadhu thought the holy man might ask for bhiksha. He was in no generous mood and lied, saying that he was only carrying leaves and hay. The holy man, being Satyanarayan Ji and all-knowing, replied, so be it, and went on his way. Sadhu was pleased to see the back of the holy man, and when he was out of sight, boarded the boat to gaze upon his treasures. But when he lifted the covers to his precious cargo, he received a shock. The gold and jewels had all vanished and been replaced by hay and leaves, exactly what he had told the holy man. Sadhu cried out in shock and alarm, lamenting the folly of his lie. Overcome with grief, he fell unconscious to the ground. When he came round and recalled all that had happened, he started to cry again. Father, said his son-in-law, do not distress yourself so. The holy man must have caused this turn of events, because we lied to him. But he could not have gone far. Let us look for him in the forest and seek his forgiveness. The merchant agreed, and together with their attendants started to search the forest. Several hours later, they eventually found the holy man sitting under a tree. Sadhu humbly approached him and apologized for lying to him. The holy man replied, O merchant, I am Satyanarayan. You have failed to keep your word to perform the Satyanarayan Ji puja. You have been consumed with yourself, and you have not understand the importance and power of truth. No prayer is greater than truth, no sin greater than lie. Where the heart is full of truth, therein the Lord resides. Because of this, I have punished you. Dear Lord, replied the merchant, you are the remover of sorrows, the bestower of blessings. Please forgive me. I promise from today that I will never tell a lie, and I will always perform your fast and prayers every month. Hearing this, Satyanarayan forgave the merchant and restored his lost fortune before setting on his way. It was late now, so Sadhu camped on the river bank that night and contemplated all that had happened. The next day was Purnamashi, the day of the full moon. Staying true to his words, Sadhu performed the fast and prayers with his son-in-law and attendants. Only after eating the prasad did he continue on his journey home. As they neared home, Sadhu sent one of his attendants on ahead to inform Lilavati that they were about to arrive. Lilavati and Kalavati were overjoyed to hear the news. That day they too had performed the fast and were finishing off their prayers. Lilavati completed her prayers first. She took her prasad and said to Kalavati, Dear daughter, I am heading to the river banks to greet your father. When you have finished your prayers, come and meet me there. Kalavati completed her prayers soon after, but was so excited to see her father and husband again, she forgot to eat her prasad before heading off. Arriving at the bank, she was horrified to witness her husband fall overboard and the boat keel over and sink to the bottom of the river. Kalavati wailed and lamented in despair. Sadhu instantly realized that something was awry and humbly invoked Satyanarayan Ji. Dear Lord, please forgive any mistake my family or I have made. In response, the merchant heard a voice saying, Sadhu, your daughter has not completed my prayers. Tell her to go home and eat her prasad. when she returns, all will be as it should be." The merchant reassured his daughter and told her what she needed to do. Galavati quickly ran home and prayed to Satyanarayan. She ate her prasad, then returned to the bank. As if everything she had seen before was a bad dream, she arrived to see her father and husband standing on the bank with the boat safely moored. The family returned home together and offered sincere and devoted prayers to Satyanarayan. From then on, the merchant and his family prayed and fasted every month and enjoyed a happy, blessed life. Shri Satyanam Bhagwan Ki Jai. Finally, said Sutji, let me tell you a story of the importance of respect. In Kushal Parnam, there was a king called Tandwaj, who was famous for his generosity and welfare towards his subjects. But one day, he invoked Satyanarayan's wrath when he refused to eat the prasad that was humbly and lovingly offered to him. The king and his company had gone out hunting on horseback. Tandwaj spotted a tiger and gave chase, separating from his companions and guards. After a long and fruitless run, he ended up at a humble cow-herding village, where he decided to rest and wait for the others. As he sat under a tree, he observed the villagers performing the Satyanarayan puja, but failed to pay his respects. On completion of the prayers, the villagers humbly offered prasad to the king, but he refused to accept it, thinking them too lowly. On arrival of his companions, he mounted the horse and headed back to his kingdom. They followed the familiar route home, but were shocked and stunned when they arrived to see their beautiful city in ruins. Nothing remained standing. "Your Majesty," spoke his vizier, "what happened at the village? Is it possible that you could have caused some offence that has resulted in this misfortune? If so, we should return and offer our sincere apologies. I am sure if we do so, the kingdom will be restored." King Tandwaj immediately realized his mistake. His pride had prevented him from paying his respects at the mandir. His arrogance did not allow him to accept the prasad from the villagers. The royal company headed back to the village, where the king humbly apologized and together with his men prayed to Satyanarayan. Only after eating the prasad did they start their journey home. This time they were delighted and relieved to see the magnificent city standing as it was before. From then on, the king always prayed and paid his respect to Satyanarayan and fasted every month. He too lived a blessed life with his family and kingdom and ultimately attained moksha. Sutji continued, "Whoever performs the Satyanarayan fast will benefit in the following ways. Their worries, sorrows and anxiety will be destroyed. Their homes will always be plentiful. Those who wish for children will be blessed with a child. They will attain what they wish for, and they will ultimately attain moksha and freedom from the circle of life." Sutji then explained, "All the people that have done this fast before have enjoyed happiness in subsequent births. The poor Brahman in the first story was reborn as Sudama and lived his entire life in the service of the Lord, Krishna, and attained moksha. King Uklamuk was reborn as King Dashrath, the father of Lord Ram, and attained moksha. The merchant Sadhu was reborn as King Morod. The king Tandwaj was reborn as Kevat, who took Lord Ram across the river and attained moksha. In this way, whomsoever performs the Lord Satyanarayan's prayers will be freed from all sorrows and will ultimately attain the blessed state of moksha." The rishis were very happy to hear the stories of Sutji. They performed the arti, took prasad and returned home. In the years to come, they spread the word of the Satyanarayan puja to hundreds of people who went on to live in peace and contentment. Shri Satyanarayan Bhagwan